Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video. Now I'm sure most of you know about Google+, the thing that Google has been trying to shove down our throats in pretty much every way imaginable for the past 7 years. Yeah, that hasn't quite been working out so great for them. And right now, Google+ is in a very similar situation to what Facebook faced back in March that brought Mark Zuckerberg to Congress to give a testimony about the data leaks that were going on with Facebook at the time. However, Google+ is not going to have the same fate that Facebook did. Where Facebook was able to come back and sort of survive the situation that happened with the data breach, Google has just made the announcement that in August of 2019, Google+ will officially be no more. So for this video, I'm going to be referencing two things. The first thing is an article made by The Guardian, and the second thing is Google's official blog post about the whole situation going on with Google+. So with that out of the way, let's dive into this and see the real reason why Google+ is shutting down. So just like I mentioned, we're going to start off with the article that The Guardian posted about the whole thing, and as you can see in the headline, we're already off to a good start. Google to shut down Google+ after failing to disclose their user data leak. The parallel between the Facebook data leak in March and Google+'s data leak was not lost on Google, and the company chose not to disclose the data leak in order to avoid the public relations headache and the potential regulatory enforcement. Google made a statement to the Wall Street Journal that said, "Disclosure will likely result in us coming into the spotlight alongside or even instead of Facebook, despite having stayed under the radar throughout the Cambridge Analytica scandal." Google policy and legal officials wrote in a memo obtained by the journal, "It almost guarantees Sundar will testify before Congress," referring to the company's CEO, Sundar Pichai, I think is how that's pronounced. The disclosure would also invite immediate regulatory interest. Shortly after that story was published, Google announced that it would shut down consumer access to Google+ and improve privacy protections for third-party applications. Now this is the part that really stuck out to me and really sort of shocked me and made me interested in this whole thing. In a blog post about the shutdown, which we'll get to in a second, Google disclosed the data leak, which it said potentially affected up to 500,000 accounts. And up to 438 different third-party applications may have had access to private information due to the bug, but Google apparently has no way of knowing whether they did because it only maintains logs of API use for 2 weeks. I mean, God, how do you mess that up so bad? It should be noted here that pretty much anything that you have on your Google+ account, like where you live, your full name, your occupation, some of your friends, your photos, anything that you have on your Google+ account, any of these 438 different third-party apps had access to all of it. So now this brings us here. Project Strobe, protecting your data, improving our third-party APIs, and sunsetting consumer Google+. This is Google's official blog statement about Google+ and the fact that they're shutting it down. Many third-party apps, services, and websites build on top of our various services to improve everyone's phones, working life, and online experience, yada yada yada. At the beginning of this year, we started an effort called Project Strobe, a root and branch review of third-party developer access to Google account and Android device data, and of our philosophy around apps data access. This project looked at the operation of our privacy controls, platforms where users were not engaging with our APIs because of concerns around data privacy, areas where developers may have been granted overly broad access, and other areas in which our policies should be tightened. We're announcing the first 4 findings and actions from this review today. Finding number 1. There are significant challenges in creating and maintaining a successful Google+ product that meets consumers' expectations. Action 1. We are shutting down Google+ for consumers. Our review showed that our Google+ APIs and the unassociated controls for consumers are challenging to develop and maintain. Underlining this, as part of our Project Strobe audit, we discovered a bug in one of the Google+ People APIs. Users can grant access to their profile data and the public profile information of their friends to Google+ apps via the API. The bug meant that the apps also had access to profile fields that were shared with the user but not marked as public. This data is limited to static, optional Google+ fields including name, email address, occupation, gender, and age. It does not include any other data you may have posted or connected to Google+ or any other service like Google+ posts, messages, Google account data, phone numbers, or G Suite content. I love the fact that they really highlight and put in bold does not include any other data. That's just kind of funny to me. We discovered and immediately patched this bug in March 2018. We believe it occurred after the launch as a result of the API's interaction with a subsequent Google+ code change. We made Google+ with privacy in mind and therefore keep this API's log data for only 2 weeks. That means we cannot confirm which users were impacted by this bug. However, we ran a detailed analysis over the 2 weeks prior to patching the bug, and from that analysis, the profiles of up to 500,000 Google+ accounts were potentially affected. Our analysis also showed that up to 438 applications may have used this API. We found no evidence that any developer was aware of this bug or abusing the API, and we found no evidence that any profile data was misused. Well, at least there's one silver lining to this story. Finding 2. People want fine-grained controls over the data they share with apps. Action 2. We are launching more granular Google account permissions that will show in individual dialog boxes. When an app prompts you for access to your Google account data, we always require that you see what data it has asked for, and you must grant it explicit permission. Going forward, consumers will get more fine-grained control over what account data they choose to share with each app. Instead of seeing all requested permissions in a single screen, apps will have to show you each required permission one at a time within its own dialog box. For example, if a developer requests access to both calendar entries and Drive documents, you will be able to choose to share one but not the other. This is what the process looks like today when an app requests to access any data in your consumer Google account. This is what it will look like. Wow. Finding 3. When users grant apps access to their Gmail, they do so with certain use cases in mind. Action 3. We are limiting the types of use cases that are permitted. We are updating our user data policy for the consumer Gmail API to limit the apps that may seek permission to access your consumer Gmail data. Only apps directly enhancing email functionality such as email clients, email backup services, and productivity services will be authorized to access this data. Moreover, these apps will need to agree to new rules on handling Gmail data and will be subject to security assessments. You can always review and control which apps have access to your Google account data within our security checkup tool. Finding 4. When users grant SMS, contacts, and phone permissions to Android apps, they do so with certain use cases in mind. Action 4. We are limiting apps' ability to receive call log and SMS permissions on Android devices and are no longer making contact interaction data available via the Android Contacts API. Some Android apps ask for permission to access a user's phone, including call logs and SMS data. Going forward, Google Play will limit which apps are allowed to ask for these permissions. Only an app that you've selected as your default app for making calls or text messages will be able to make these requests. Additionally, as part of the Android Contacts permission, we have provided basic interaction data. So for example, a messaging app could show you your most recent contacts. We will remove access to contact interaction data from the Android Contacts API within the next few months. In the coming months, we'll roll out additional controls and update policies across more of our APIs. As we do so, we'll work with our developer partners to give them appropriate time to adjust and update their apps and services. Our goal is to support a wide range of useful apps while ensuring that everyone is confident that their data is secure. By giving developers more explicit rules of the road and helping users control your data, we can ensure that we keep doing just that. Wow, that was quite a lengthy blog post, but now you know that Google Plus is shutting down because Google utterly messed up the API and potentially 500,000 people's account data is now just floating around somewhere, with 438 different apps being able to access it. Well, probably not anymore, but it was a thing at one point. Who knows? Maybe this was for the best. Maybe it really is for the best that Google Plus is shutting down, and Google is trying to take some more serious steps in protecting users' account data. The only thing that kinda irks me is the fact that Google knew that this was happening back in March, and only now they chose to share the fact that potentially 500,000 people's account data may have been leaked to 438 different apps in the Google Play Store. I know that they were trying to protect Google Plus's CEO, but why now? Why couldn't they have announced it in June or maybe July? They could have still waited, but at least it wouldn't have been a 7-month wait. Yeah, that's certainly how you can make people rest easy and rest assured that their account data is safe and protected when you're announcing the fact that their account data was leaked 7 months after it happened. Way to go, Google. I guess you knew that Google Plus wasn't really working out, and so you really had to make it go out with a bang, huh? But hey, hopefully Google isn't bullshitting us in their steps to ensure that people's data is more protected. Hopefully they're actually telling the truth here, and hopefully these steps that they mentioned on protecting user data will be in place very, very soon. But that's pretty much it for the story. Let me know what you think of this whole Google Plus situation in the comments down below. But in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you did, or rate this 5 stars if you're on Vidly, and remember to subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this one when they come out. This is CL21, signing out.